Hi people and hello my Chili Con Carnage crew, it's Chili here from Live Listener Race bringing you part 2 of the Ashes special. Of course I'm joined with Tom of the Green Man. Tom, how are you this episode?
Well, good, thanks Chili, good to see you again.
Yes, it's very good. You had a fantastic list on the last episode. Make sure to check out part A there. Some difficult choices to be made of course in regards to that one there. But oh yeah, I hope the pain that you inflicted upon me in that last episode I can inflict upon you in this one here. Because I think I have a pretty good list here. I have an interesting one. And you know what? The one thing that I've always wondered about this list is how eclectic can we make it? When we pick Aussie artists, which is the theme of this one of course, there's a bit to pick from. I have for you Silverchair, Wolfmother, and ACDC, or ACDC in the Australian tongue, if you will. I'm wondering though, in England, do they call ACDC ACDC or ACDC?
I've not heard ACDC.
Haven't you?
Heard ACDC.
Ah.
I don't think I've heard ACDC.
Ah, that's one of them Aussie things we just... We've got to shorten everything, but when you say ACDC, you're actually adding more letters, so it doesn't make sense. Anyway, one of those Australian things, if you will. So, yes, 3 pretty big Australian bands here. Which one do you want to go with first to start talking about?
Well, should we go ACDC? Let's go ACDC.
Let's go ACDC. A fantastic band. Oh. Red hot. I love as an Australian I swear it's like you gotta love ACDC.
Yeah, great bands. So many anthems in their back catalogue, aren't there? There's just so many songs that so well known out of a lot of bands that have been around for so many years. You know, their music gets used in so many things, doesn't it, as well? Movies, TV shows, still.
And still to this day, I mean, like, what was it? There was a Marvel movie, I forget the name of it, but the Spider-Man Homecoming or something like that plays AC/DC in the background, and he's like, "Oh, I love Led Zeppelin." You're like, oh, like, oh God, Tom, I'll just punch you in the face right now. Not you, Tom, the other Tom. But no, oh God, yes, you're right. So many anthems. Where do you even begin? I mean, Thunderstruck is the first one that comes to mind.
Oh man.
I mean, just that guitar lick at the beginning. Oh. And then just that kick of the drums. It's such a perfect tune to rile you up and get you going. I swear. That song, that does it. Oh, I mean, what other songs do you reckon? I mean, there's so many to list, isn't there? As you said, there's just so many tracks that you can pick from.
There are so many. I mean, I've always really liked "Girls Got Rhythm" as my go-to ACDC song.
Yes,
just love that riff. It's just fantastic.
Rhythm. Oh yeah, bloody good track. Hell yeah.
Where are you with the singers? Which singer do you like best? You know, Bon Scott.
That's a hard one because I mean both of them bring quite good elements to the plate. You know, obviously Bon Scott was a one-of-a-kind singer, but not just a one-of-a-kind singer.
Absolutely.
He was a one-of-a-kind frontman. You know, and I mean I've read the autobiography for ACDC, and they talk about Bon Scott obviously in such high regard. There were stories, for example, where Bon Scott, when Angus first got his hands on a wireless guitar, so you know, plugs it in, it's wireless, we can do whatever we want now. So Bon picks up Angus on his shoulders, and this is in the middle of like a country pub in Australia, and he walks through the crowd, and then he walks out the front of the pub, and then walks down the street for another 200 meters with him on his shoulders just playing a guitar solo. And the whole crowd just went with them.
Oh, brilliant.
I mean, it takes balls for the guy to come up and just go, I'm going to do a bagpipe solo when you have one of the greatest guitarists ever. And it works. Not to take away, of course, from Brian Johnson, who is such an incredible... I think... Like, yeah, Brian is great. He definitely is the perfect match for ACDC. Despite the fact he's been their singer for much, much longer, he'll always have that comparison, I guess. But Back in Black was a huge album. Back in Black is an incredible album. It's one of the most successful, I think, Australian albums ever. Could be. I might be standing corrected, but something like ACDC sold like 110 million records, I think. Something like that. It's a lot of records, whatever it is. So, I mean, that puts them up there with like Dire Straits numbers. And Dire Straits are freaking massive. Yeah. So...
Yeah, for sure.
I guess to answer your question, though, I'd probably go with Bon Scott, sorry. Yeah, he's... Just his charisma alone. The guy just seems like such an interesting person to have witnessed and seen perform live. But, oh, yeah, that's a great one. You spun me out there. Put the spin ball on me.
I think my first ACDC album was Let There Be Rock.
Ooh.
I think that was my first one, not Back in Black. And that's a really good album.
That's probably my favourite ACDC album, to be honest. I love Let There Be Rock.
Awesome. Yeah, it starts with Go Down, which is a great song.
Yeah, and Dog Eat Dog.
Dog Eat Dog, yeah. Banger after banger on that album.
Yeah, Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be. Whole Lot of Rosie, which is another...
A lot of Roses on that one as well. Yeah, it's a classic.
That is a great one, and that's another interesting story that Bon Scott made, talking about a large girl that he had intimate relations with, obviously possibly named Rosie. And have you ever seen ACDC live?
I haven't actually seen them live. No, I still haven't seen them live.
I've been lucky enough to see them twice, and I've got to say, when they did A Whole Lot of Rosie, they brought out this giant inflatable, and it's like the side, it was like the length of the whole stage, and this thing is like probably a 30-meter inflatable woman, and they've got like, they got puppeteers moving the legs and stuff like that, and it was just nuts. It was absolutely crazy. That was, I think it was for Black Ice tour, really good tour actually.
Yeah, I can imagine they put on a great show, like ACDC.
Oh, and even better, like, I mean, Angus just goes off, does a guitar solo, and he's playing and playing and playing and playing and playing, and he just goes on, and it's amazing to watch. And then at the end of it, they're like, Angus Young guitar solo length, 18 minutes. Apparently they were keeping time of this like the whole time. 18 minutes 22 seconds I think it was, to be exact, and that was a constant thing throughout the live setup. Oh, it was nuts.
He's a fantastic.
Odd fella, Angus, and still so talented. Damn.
Yep.
But I mean, there's so many albums to go through with those guys that it's like, shit, where do you even begin? Because, like, even past Bon Scott's era, Brian Johnson, he's still got great albums like For Those About to Rock, which is great. The Razor's Edge, and even moving into their more current times with, I thought Black Ice was a really good album. You know?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I haven't listened to actually their most recent albums, I think. So the last one that I know in their chronology is The Razor's Edge, and then after that, don't really know. Definitely don't know Black Ice, Rock or Bust, or Power Up, or any of those.
Okay, that's interesting.
So how have they been in recent years?
Yeah? Oh, they've actually had a bit of trouble because
I've heard they're very good, actually.
Live performances
on YouTube channels where I've heard them talk about their recent outputs, that their recent albums are very good.
Yeah, look, I guess, moving on from Razor's Edge, which was, 1990. I mean, they did have an album, Stiff Upper Lip, which was released in 2000, and that was released with a fair bit of critical acclaim, you know. Black Ice was a couple of years after, in 2008. Again, I thought it was a really good one. And then even their last album was in 2020, Power Up, and it was okay. I didn't think it was fantastic. Same with Rock or Bust, which was a couple of years before that. So, yeah, like, you kind of get that when you've released, 15 albums or something down the track, and you've been around the loop for about 40-odd years. But, you know, for the fact that you're still putting out some decent songs, you know, if you go through any of those albums, you're going to find great ACDC tracks, Akadaka tracks, I should be saying, regardless of if you like the entire album or not. So they can still write tunes, yes. But, you know, as far as the band goes, I guess off stage, I mean, Malcolm Young died a couple of years ago. He had, I think, an onset of dementia, something like that. It was some weird disease. And basically they got their cousin in to fill in his role. Or is it nephew? Might be nephew, but he looks exactly the same as him, despite the fact he's about 15 years younger, which is very weird. And then, of course, there was the Phil Rudd debacle. Sorry, that's the better word. Where he was in, I think he was in New Zealand and got caught with a whole bunch of meth and guns on him. So, wow. Yeah, he got put away for a couple of years. And it was weird because he didn't want to walk into the courthouse, and he had his security guard carry him in through the courthouse. So that was a really weird thing to happen. Phil is an odd cat. Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, I guess with the Black Ice tour was good, and then the tour I saw them after that was still okay, despite the fact that there was probably only one or two original members.
Indeed, I mean, I'm gonna have to check out their latest stuff, because I have a feeling it's probably pretty good. And, yeah, like I say, I have seen channels put. I'm sure their last album was like in a lot of top 20 lists.
Yeah.
Which one was that? That was Power Up, I think. I saw in a lot of top 20 lists.
Yeah, okay.
Or top end of year lists.
Yeah. I mean, look, some people are going to like it. Some people, like myself, probably thought, it's fine. It does its job.
What?
Like ACDC don't stray too far. It's kind of like the Ramones in Australia, you know? They're just going to write simple rock tunes.
It's going to be, you know what you're going to expect.
Yeah. They're not going to get too chaotic there. So, yeah, I think for ACDC there, that's, bare bones basic shit there. Good stuff. Oh, man.
Jeez.
Which band would you like to tackle next there, Tom?
Shall we go for Silverchair? Let's do
Silverchair, cool. Yeah. Silverchair, man. It is like the anthemic Australian 90s grunge movement right there. They are quite the prolific mob. I should say the lead singer is Daniel Johns, is very prolific even to this day, despite the fact that they split up probably about 10 or so years, 12 years ago, I think. But, I mean, Frog Stomp is... if you're Aussie, you'd know Frog Stomp. It's just such a... like I said, pretty much a lot of people were saying, like, Silverchair were a knockoff clone of Nirvana. Which kind of is true to a degree. But, I mean, these guys are like 13, 14 when they wrote Frog Stomp. And their take, I guess, on the whole genre influenced a whole rock scene that would come forward out of Australia moving on in the next couple of years with Grinspoon, Jebediah, kind of Powderfinger to a degree, but a whole bunch of those bands would just be influenced by Frog Stomp, an album written by a bunch of 13, 14-year-olds. It's incredible to think that, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting. I have heard a lot of people say Silverchair they think are underrated from that era of grunge and alternative rock in the 1990s, and that they don't get either credit they deserve. And perhaps that's reflected somewhat by me not knowing them very well, or at least not knowing their albums very well. So, yeah, it's interesting. And they're a band I definitely need to kind of unearth more of their catalogue, clearly. Because I think I'd really like them if I knew them just that bit better. But yeah, they have that sound, don't they, of that era. I can see why maybe some people made that contrast to Nirvana, because they were big at that sort of time. And but yeah, I say from what I've heard of them, which isn't a lot, I still think that they to me, moving kind of on from that sort of just that grunge sound maybe that Nirvana were known for. So
you're definitely on the mark there, especially like considering Frog Stomp came out in 94, just before I think Kurt Cobain's death, and I do believe that Kurt Cobain actually did listen to Frog Stomp, and I think if I'm remembering the story right, he did quite enjoy their music. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure, what did he die in, April? I can't remember now, but I'm fairly certain, you know...
Cobain went in here 94-ish, wasn't it? Or
it was 94, I remember he passed away. I'm just trying to remember what month it was. But I have a...
94, 5th of April 94.
5th of April, and I'm pretty sure Frog Stomp came out like 3 or 4 weeks before that. But, it was like a very small period. And maybe some people might draw the parallel that with Kurt Cobain's death and that being at the forefront of people, you know, they were kind of trying to find another band, and maybe Silverchair got a little bit of success off of that. That's something I've never actually considered. I've heard maybe little rumours about it, but who knows? I think that regardless of Kurt Cobain's passing, their music is just well justified. But I would be doing them a disservice, I guess, if I didn't at least mention their music moving forward, because they've only done, I think, 5 albums. But, you know, Frog Stomp, very grungy type of mix. And then you move on to like Neon Ballroom, and it starts to introduce more symphonic elements to it. You know, hard rock, orchestral arrangements in various parts. I think it's probably their best works, to be honest. Some of the works off of that album is just incredible. But then, you know, you got a few other ones like Diorama, which is, it does incorporate a lot of symphony, but it's one of those albums I loved at first, and then I hated. But then I came back and loved it again. It's weird. So they did a lot of evolution within their sound, you know, through their time. And it always annoyed me that Straight Lines became more successful than Tomorrow, because I fucking hated that song. Don't listen to... Okay, if you're going to go listen to Silverchair, do not listen to Straight Lines. It's just pure pop. Like crap. It's terrible. I'd probably stick it towards Neon Ballroom. Sorry, Freak Show was the one in between, and that was like dirty rock, you know, kind of moving away from the grunge thing. Neon Ballroom is like the music in between Diorama and their early years. It has these moments that are, you know, hard rocking, grungy, but then beautiful at the same time. You know, starting off with Emotion Sickness, which is like this beautiful piece that builds and Makes you swell up, with the music. And then you go for Anthem for the year 2000, which is this dirty bass line just plucking away. So, interesting stuff to go with. Silverchair. But very intriguing band, and a band that's almost local to me as well. Been up in Newcastle, which is like a 2-hour drive away from Sydney.
Oh, really? So you're not far away.
Yeah.
So do you think I should? So as somebody who's only vaguely familiar, I know the name a lot, but I still don't really know the band too well. Would you say which 2 albums, if you had to pick 2, would you say are the best, or would be the best for a relatively early listener?
Definitely Frog Stomp and Neon Ballroom. Yeah. Or if you want to narrow it down, just select the best of. Yeah, I think I bought that as well. Actually, I had like all 4 of their CDs, and then I bought the best of for some reason.
I often got, when I was a lot younger, I used to get best of albums quite a bit, and I wouldn't really do that now. I'm much more of an albums person since I've gotten older, which is kind of interesting. But I used to get a lot of compilations to get to know bands when I was a lot younger, and I had a best of Black Sabbath. I had a Iron Maiden one as well. Going slightly off topic here, but it's interesting, isn't it? Like compilations are a way of getting to know. Yeah, and you did that with Silverchair.
It was the perfect way to get to know music, because if you didn't want to buy a whole CD.
Exactly, you didn't download back then. Exactly.
And actually, it's funny because I made an episode about bands who had best of CDs that were better than their entire catalogue, and not that Silverchair made the list, but I definitely said the Police were one. They were very singles band, but I found it funny. I got to make a note here because their best of, Silverchair's best of, is called Volume 1, and it's only one CD they released. It's like, were you waiting for something else? Like, because you guys should have made more CDs. But, yes, so I guess if you were going for 2 albums, I'd stick you with Frog Stomp and Neon Ballroom. Lead singer Daniel Johns went on to do various solo projects, and one of them was The Dissociatives, which was very electronic pop. And it was just, I don't know, I can't say too many kind words about it. I remember I got the CD from a library, so the best thing about it was free. That's about all I can say. I don't think he's had much. Yeah, he hasn't had much. He's been out of the limelight actually for probably about 10 years. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame because I think he had a lot of mental issues because growing up famous so quickly. Yeah, brought on a fair bit of issues. Got caught drink driving and various other things. I mean, despite the fact he's laid low for 10 odd years, even when he goes out, people, photographers are still hounding him. It's like, the guy is trying to live a quiet life. Let him do his thing. Public media, what can we say? They just want to get that photo.
Paparazzi.
Freaking paparazzi scum. Oh, gosh. I mean, coming from England, you'd know all about the paparazzi scum, wouldn't you? They're always in the headlines, aren't they?
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, I mean...
Oh, especially with what's going on at the moment. Oh, shit. But no, yeah, Silverchair, fantastic. I really think you would love Frog Stomp. I'm not too sure about Neon Ballroom, but it is definitely one of their better albums. So, if I was going to say, out of those 2 albums, which one to play first? Frog Stomp. Definitely. So, yeah, that would be the one I'd be pointing at. So, I guess that leaves us with one more band on this menu here. Wolfmother. Wolfmother are quite an intriguing one, because that's actually a Sydney-based band. Now I said that though, I feel like I'm fucking sure they're Sydney-based. Fuck anyone says that they aren't. Screw them. they're wrong. But
they are now.
they're
Right.
definitely wrong now. Although I've said that now, and I'm just like, shit. Am I second guessing myself? No, I don't think so. So yeah, it was Andrew Stockdale, lead guitarist, and massive throw on him back in the day. Really good guitarist, actually. Just simple rock tunes. It doesn't get more simple than, I mean, the anthemic Woman, which was a massive breakthrough for their debut album, along with The Joker and the Thief, and which was used in Jackass 2 as well. I think, even the Jackass crew came to Australia. I know this because I've seen Wolfmother live back during their debut album, where they actually headlined on a debut album. Like, you only have 11 songs to play. But anyway, so they debuted, they're playing. But before Wolfmother came on stage, some of the Jackass crew came on stage and welcomed Wolfmother. And they're like, oh, yeah, hey guys, it's Steve-O here. Jackass is here, and we're filming the video clip to The Joker and the Thief right now. And they're just like holding cameras, and they just bounce on stage playing the bloody sound, the song. And I know they did this for both the Sydney nights, because I went to one night, my brother went to another night, and I'm pretty sure he saw Johnny Knoxville on that night with Bam Margera. And I'm so jealous that he saw them. But I saw Steve-O. So, yeah. But, yeah, the video clip, if you've watched The Joker and the Thief, is filmed in Sydney on tour. And I don't recall the footage having a cake thrown at Andrew Stockdale's face. But on the night that I saw them, it was Andrew's birthday. And I started the chant saying, throw it away, throw it in your face. And he threw the cake in his face. So, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, serious. So, yeah, it was a really good concert by Wolfmother there, and I was only young at the time, like 18, not even. I think younger than that. But one hell of a concert to remember. It's just a bit of a...
So which part of Wolfmother's discography was that? Was that after the release of their debut album?
No, that was their debut album. They had this massive...
What was the debut?
Yeah, massive explosion when the first album came out. And, yeah, Woman gets this massive airplay on the radio stations and everywhere, and I think it could have been used in something. I think that even their B-side, which was Love Train, might have been used in like an iTunes or something like that ad. Like, whose B-sides gets used in an advertisement by a giant, conglomeration like that? It's crazy. But unfortunately, they kind of imploded very shortly after. They released this massive album. Everyone thought they were going to take over the world, and then out of the 3 members, 2 of them left. And you're going, oh shit.
Yeah, it never quite, if you have that many band members leaving a band, they're never quite the same, I think.
Yeah, because they were all like multiple, they're all multi-instrumentalists, I should say. The bassist was the keyboardist, and, drummer was doing percussion sections as well. But again, it's kind of a bit like Silverchair, massive infighting, implosion. He released another album which was nowhere near as successful, but it also strayed a bit in sound. And he's released a few albums over the times, but it's only been Wolfmother's pretty much largely gone. It may as well just be called Andrew Stockdale's band.
Yeah.
Actually, interestingly enough, I think
they've got quite a few past members listed on their page.
Oh yeah, which is surprising for a 3-piece band, or 4-piece. I think they are.
Yeah.
They did an album recently called, I think it was called Rocking Out, in 2022 or 2021. I think it's 21. And yeah, reviewed that actually. It was actually not a bad return to form. I actually liked that album a fair bit compared to the last 3 or 4 anyway, which were largely.
Did it make your end of year list as well?
No, that one didn't. Actually, 2021 was a very tough year. That was a extremely difficult year. I remember Between the Buried and Me, I think nailed like the top 1 spot. How can you beat Colours 2?
Yeah.
And Kajura's Fortitude.
And to do a sequel. Yeah.
That was a.
Yeah, I mean, to do a sequel, and again, slightly off topic, I guess, from Wolfmother, but they did a sequel to a classic and made it
better.
Almost, if not as good, I guess, yeah. Almost better,
it was insanely good. I'm going to spoil people's list here, but I reckon that that album is probably going to be in my top 20 albums for the decade. I honestly think it was that good. But
yeah,
I mean,
interestingly enough, I listened to that album recently again, and it's an amazing one. Yeah.
So good. It's so good. But Wolfmother's album is the debut album anyway. Like I kind of brush off all the rest of their works. They do have some good material in the albums that they did after their debut one, but the debut album is really good. Like that's where it's at. Mind's Eye, I think, was another one. I'm trying to think of another couple of tracks. Maybe for me it's a bit because I'm nostalgic towards the album, so I'm going to be showing prejudice towards it. But for me, that whole album, is just phenomenal from start to finish. Dimension, White Unicorn, yeah, Where Eagles Have Been, just absolutely great album from start to finish.
Yeah.
But it was also
one of those bands with a really good debut album.
Yes, it was like Weezer, the Australian Weezer.
Yeah.
Oh, poor bastards over at Weezer. They don't stand a chance. Nothing they can do can go right for them. So yeah, I it's unfortunate. Yes, Wolfmother is in that list. Actually, now you say that, I didn't think about it, but yeah, bands with fantastic, phenomenal debut albums that never followed up. So add that to the list. Top 10 rock metal music reviews. They'll be watching this one like a hawk, just waiting for material. Oh man. So out of these 3 bands, I guess it comes down to a tough decision for you. ACDC,
yeah,
Wolfmother,
and
Silverchair.
Okay, so starting with ACDC, I mean, they have a massive legacy behind them, and I love their music, but I suppose they are a band that I think you sort of know what you're going to get a lot of the time. And they have classics to them. I mean, Let There Be Rock is one of my favourites from them, I would say. Highway to Hell is an absolute classic. So it's difficult. I certainly wouldn't erase them. I think that would be suicide. I would say maybe live, because they're a band actually I'd love to see, from your descriptions of Angus Young and everything. I would love to see them live, I think, for sure.
Just a further note I should have added, but when I saw ACDC, I think it was the most tits I've ever seen at a concert, and I've been to a Steel Panther concert.
Oh, right.
Live it is.
It's like that at Steel Panther concerts.
At Steel Panther?
Well, I know Steel Panther, and they're kind of bringing back the glam thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're sort of like the modern... Correct me if I'm wrong, but I sort of see them as the modern-day Motley Crue.
No,
is that right? You think that's about...
They're very much a piss take of, like, 80s glam metal. So they're kind of a parody of 80s glam metal. Yeah.
Parody, yeah.
So... but...
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd love to see ACDC live, I think, just for the experience. Yeah, sounds like it would be concert worth going to.
Hell yeah. I mean, there's no way you were going to erase ACDC. I was just thinking, like, okay, which one will he pick there, live or listen?
Yeah, ACDC. Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah. Erase ACDC.
Yeah, that would make for an interesting comment section afterwards. Anyway, so yeah, ACDC live.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. This is where it's a little bit more difficult because I don't particularly know Silverchair nor Wolfmother. But Silverchair are very much, from what I have heard of them, more my thing, I think, than I'm not someone who's just for straight up rock necessarily and hard rock. I enjoy it, but it's less my sort of thing. So I think Silverchair just have that from that era as well of bands where I like almost every band from that sort of era. Sort of grungy 90s alternative rock era, and I like what I've heard from them as well. So like I say, I mean, criminally, I don't really know the discography. I don't know Neon Ballroom, and I only am fairly familiar with Frog Stomp from the singles, I think. So I think I'm gonna listen to Silverchair for forever. Bit of a risk not knowing them very well, but I just feel like it's probably a safe choice. That from what you said, they're a really good band. So we're kind of doing what we did with Side A a bit, aren't we, from the last episode? In a way, you're trusting your judgment on a band who I do feel a bit sort of like bad that I don't really know them very well, because they've been obviously very successful in Australia, and I do know the name. It's not that, but yeah, I don't know their discography very well. And then Wolfmother, I think I'm gonna have to erase.
Damn you, Wolfmother.
Yeah, I think although it sounds like their debut was good. Like I say again, I'm not super familiar with them. And yeah, they're probably less my sort of thing from what I have heard of them, than Silverchair, and definitely than ACDC, I would say. So yeah,
No, that's
I think I'm gonna erase Wolfmother.
No, that's a fair call in that regards, and I think you're doing a pretty good service there. I'd almost agree with your list, because I guess looking over that, I mean, I would 100% erase Wolfmother, purely because, like, I have seen them live, yeah, fine, but they've only really got 1 or 2 good albums, so you don't want to listen to all the rest of the material and rule out the other 2. But yeah, I think they're kind of the more green, I guess, of the other 2 bands I put on the list here. So unfortunately, I'd say Wolfmother, yeah, you get erased. Sorry. But you made a good choice, I guess, with listening to Silverchair. I know a lot of people will be going, yeah, good one. But for me, I mean, it kind of doesn't help that I've seen ACDC live. I'd listen to ACDC, I've seen...
Yeah.
I dead set listen to them because they've just got so much material behind them. Like, yeah, you could go to a live concert and you'd probably have a 3-hour concert, despite the fact that guys are like 65, But they got 15 albums, I think, something like that. So you're not going to go drying up anytime soon. And I've never seen Silverchair, never had the opportunity, unfortunately. I take that back. I did, but I didn't want to see them during the Straight Lines tour because that album sucked. So I guess I'd see Silverchair live and probably wind the clock back to about 99, 2000, because Anthem for the Year 2000 was the first song I ever heard by Silverchair, and I thought that was the best shit I had heard ever. So it'd be like a blast from my past. But yeah, I think that would wrap it up all of that list quite neatly into a little package. Oh man, it's a freaking now God, now you're just making me smile thinking about that Anthem for the Year 2000 song. It's like pure nostalgia has just taken over my mind, Tom. Absolute wave of it, and it's fantastic. Well, thank you, Tom, for coming along for another episode of Live Listener Race, the Ashes special. By the time this episode comes out, Australia would have retained the Ashes, no doubt. Tom, thank you.
I haven't looked at the score, actually.
I think
It's
rain delays. The only problem is you guys, you have to win 3. All we have to do is draw 1.
No.
And it's
against it.
It's looking like it might just happen. English weather. So we'll see what happens. This episode will probably be out by the time the Ashes are over. And everyone's looking at the screen going, why the hell does he have white stripes on his face? Especially the Yanks. They're like, why?
What's going on? What's cricket?
Just ask Google, people. Just ask Google. It's all right.
Yeah.
Just catch up with the other 50% of Australians. Sorry, the world, I should say.
There's lots of rules. There's lots of rules to read about in cricket.
I swear Americans just avoid it because it's like, wait, you play a sport that goes for 5 days? Like, yeah, it's fun. You can drink a lot in 5 days. But
yeah, stop for tea breaks.
There's not actually a lot of playing during those 5 days. I swear there's probably 4 or 5 hours of playing. They just stop a lot, and that's about it. Fuck. It's just such a funny game.
Lots of standing out in a field.
Yeah. Standing out in a field with white...
My playing days, if you're the fielding side and the batting side is doing well, there's a lot of standing out in the field. And...
yeah, you'd be like 2 hours of standing there like this. Oh, God. Yep. Yeah, I got bored way too much. I've got to give a shout out, actually, because it is a cricket-related episode, to the 12th Man. For, again, the Yanks, or anyone who hasn't heard of the 12th Man, he's a comedian. He was a comedian, I should say, who did a lot of commentary regarding cricket. It's just funny as hell. It's so funny. Oh, man. But, yep, I think that's it for this episode. See you later, people. Take it easy. Don't forget to stay spicy out there. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Live Listener Race. And if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our Chili Con Carnage crew so you can get notified for all the future videos that we put out, as we put out videos every Friday. Also, we are on Discord, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter over at Live Listener Race, so make sure to tune in over there. And don't forget to like this video so that our manager can stay very happy.